right, welcome everybody. I don't like to stand behind the podium. Sometimes I can't quite see over the top of it, so I just stand around the side. My name's Kevin Van Ostenbridge. I'm your district county commissioner. And the way we like to start, everything here in Manatee County, we like to start off by honoring God, and then we honor our great nation. So first I'm going to bring up Sean Flynn, who is the president of Manatee West Little League, and he's going to lead us in prayer.
I am going to stand behind the podium. All right, let's bow our heads in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, we, the community of Manatee County, we come to you this evening with grateful hearts in celebration of GT Bray Park. Your loving hands have blessed this park for the last 40 years, and we ask for that continued protection. We thank you, Lord, for generations of families, smiles, tears, wins, losses, laughter, friendship, and lifelong memories that we pray will last for many more lifetimes to come. We thank you for our soldiers, all of our elected officials here, our firefighters, our EMS, and our law enforcement, the men and women that put their lives on the line on a daily basis. We pray for their continuous protection for them and their families. We thank you for the staff here at GT Bray Park and with Manatee County for putting this event together for our community. Bless the volunteer leaders in each of their respective sport leagues, that they never lose sight of the purpose of their dedicated service. And lastly, Lord, we thank you for the children. We ask that you continue to bless these innocent children, the reason for these great facilities. They are our future, the born and the unborn. Give us the strength to help guide them in their lives so that they may one day pass along the same joy that GT Bray Park has brought to so many other families. So you say that whenever two or more are gathered in your name, you are with us. So clearly that is the case with these facilities here at GT Bray, Lord. And we ask that you continue to bless GT Bray Park as well as this great community of Manatee County for years to come. And we ask this in Jesus' name, amen.
Next, we're going to bring up two 25-plus year employees that a lot of you may know or have heard of, Karen Corbin and Michelle Richardson. And they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Get a nice big pie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Thank you, ladies. So when I first got elected, my predecessor, I asked him before I got elected, but I said to him, hey, is there anything that you want me, that you're passing the torch on, that you want to ensure that I complete, and I do? And he was a good friend of Jeff Judon. His name's Steve Johnson. He had spent a lot of time here at Bray. He was a big tennis player, played John McEnroe famously. And he said to me, he said, you know, I started to redo Bray and to sort of rehab Bray. And he said, it so desperately needs it, but it's a huge, huge project. There was no way I was going to get it done. He said, can you work on that? I was like, sure. I thought that meant see it through all the way to the end. He just meant, you know, a little extra. No one told me that much. So we did. We endeavored on Little League. We moved over to soccer. We moved over to softball. And we just took bites out of it as we went on and on and on. Concession stands. Some of it went great. Some of it, we had some challenges. The concession stand at the Little League Park, famously from the press box, there's one field where you can't see home plate from the scorekeeper's window. That's a problem. But for the most part, all of it went pretty darn well. New bathrooms, new concessions, you know, reshelling everything, fencing everything. We had trees. So Bray is about 40 years old. It turns out the life of a queen palm is 40 years. We couldn't, why are these queen palms dying? What's wrong? What's killing them? It's just the age of the park, right? I mean, it's just, there aren't many parks, really any parks in Manatee County that are that age. And the landscaping was all starting to die. So that was sort of next on the list, was to tackle landscaping. LED lights at the skate park. We put a timer out there at the skate park because we're having issues with vandalism. at the skate park at night, and then we were having issues with kids pulling door latches on cars at night too. But so we put a timer on the lights at the skate park, so you can skate all night. And it turned out once there's activity at the skate park all night, nobody was vandalizing the skate park all night, and kids are there all night. So be it. At least they're not getting themselves into trouble when they're wandering around town. So the pool, you're seeing a complete overhaul over at our pool right now. We were hoping it would be done for tonight, but it's not. But if you want to take the tour over there and go see the pool, we'll let you walk around and check it out. But we're lots of improvements to the pool, including the dive well and the deck. The racket center. I mean, how could you miss the racket center on your way in? $3 million into 24 pickleball courts. It's like the nicest pickleball facility in the state. We couldn't be more proud of it. We've actually held a professional tournament over there already. We're working on $1.4 million in coverings for playgrounds all over the county, including here. And if you haven't been by to see the Manatee High School baseball field yet, please check it out. I know the coach is here, and where did he go? I don't know. There he is in the back. We couldn't get him a better seat. That's all right. But Manatee High baseball is looking fantastic. And next, we're going over to softball. Krista Latessa is here, who, you know, we're going to get into a lot of stories about people who like spent their whole lives at Bray, like me and like Krista Latessa. She was a camper here. She eventually was a camp counselor here. Now she's coaching Manatee High softball. And she's one example of, you know, all these West Bradenton kids who have spent so much time. People like Sean Flynn, who played here as a kid, and now he's the president of Little League, come full circle. But Manatee baseball, or Manatee softball, I think is next on the list. Clubhouse, batting cages, bullpen, all that fun stuff. So we've put an awful lot into it. Even the overflow parking. We found eventually that our biggest problem here was parking, which is a great problem to have. So we built an overflow parking lot for all these Wildcat events that take place and on the same days as softball tournaments and pickleball tournaments. So we have a few speakers today, and we have a few notable figures in the audience. Mayor Jean Brown is here. Yeah. We have two councilwomen here. We have Lisa Gonzalez Moore, and we have Jane Coker. Am I forgetting any other elected officials, by the way? All right. I am? Who am I forgetting? Oh, Amanda Ballard is here. Well, you're in disguise back there. Okay. Commissioner Ballard is here as well. So next, we're going to bring up Mayor Brown from the city of Bradenton, who's coached out here. I don't know if he played out here. Are you that old or that young? Okay, he played here. He coached here. All of it. So Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Ostenbridge. Looking at these pictures and kind of going through, you know, you think about when this park started 40 years ago, and obviously it has the name of G.T. Bray on it, and you think of the family history. Well, I was lucky enough for opening day of Little League this year with Sean Flynn and Commissioner Van Ostenbridge to spend probably about an hour or so with Mrs. Bray and just talking to her. Never met her before, but, you know, I don't even know if anybody realized she was even still alive. But, you know, when you think about what's going on in our community, my family with my grandkids now is 7th generation in this town. So a lot of things happening here. And, you know, spending that day with her and just seeing the excitement of what she says GT did and what he loved. And it was all about kids and activities. And that's what this is all about. I spent probably 3 years of my life in this gym watching my daughter steal a ball, dribble down the court, and miss a layup. Steal the ball, dribble down the court, and miss a layup. And I tell that story, and Rachel's going to kill me, but that was something that you sit in here as a parent and you think about what that means. You know, and this is something I learned many years ago as a Boys and Girls Club board member, going to conferences and stuff. You know, even though the children are 25% of our population in this world, they're 100% of our future. And if we don't do things to make things better for them and collaborate, and that's really what I wanted to stress on today, was the collaboration of what 40 years ago the city, the county, and the school district did to make this park. And there might have been a little bit of a period that things were not so collaboration over the years, but the last several years, and with this county commission, with our city council, and what we're doing with all of the county employees, the staff, and working through to make this park a national known park. And that's probably, pickleball probably is the biggest thing lately. But when you look at the softball fields, you look at the football fields, and I've traveled a lot and you go to fields and you say, it's not really, doesn't look good. You pull in here and they say, wow. And that's, something that Commissioner Johnson started a little bit more, and then Commissioner Van Ostenbridge has been the champion of that. And I know, my administrator here, Mr. Perry, has been with us a long time now, 3 years this month, and I know Mr. Bishop is there, and they got to worry about budgets and stuff. We put a lot of pressure on them at times, but it's about what we can do for the children and the future. And this isn't just a district park, this is a Manatee County park, and it really plays into it. So I could go on forever, but what I'm just going to say is thank you to all of the commissioners, as well as all of the staff, our city council, the school district, and all of, especially the parents that are sitting out there right now. Because without the parents doing what they do volunteer-wise, it wouldn't happen. And, you've got every facet of sports here. And if you want your children to play in any sport, you can do it. You can be here. And I don't know where he went, but we even had the mayor for a day on Wednesday was here earlier. I think they might have left. But kids really want to have that and see what's happening. So, again, thank you. Miss Esther, I wish you would have been here, but 99 years old, you just don't know. And I did meet her, I had a situation in the last week to talk to one of her nieces, and Mr. Bray's brother. I think it's S.R. Bray is what his initials were. But it was in the different, my other job. But when she said it, she goes, well, Mayor Brown, you guys made Miss Esther's, day and life at that point. So that's what you want to do. You want to help people, and it's all about that. So I just want to thank Commissioner Van Ostenbridge, Commissioner Ballard, who's here, and all the rest of the county commissioners, as well as everyone here today. Thank you for the collaboration, and the city is going to be there when we keep doing that. So thank you.
Yeah, it was a great day when we got to meet Mrs. Bray. Sean had her out for opening day of Little League, and we both came out there for that. And he, like two kids, we threw her on a golf cart. Mrs. Bray, we threw her on the golf cart. We're dragging her all over the park. She's 98 years old, 99 years old, introducing her to like Bridget and Karen and all the employees who've been here for so long. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that day, and it reminds me that Bill Evers, your uncle and predecessor's predecessor. Is somebody who was was the mayor at the time that GT Bray was built. It is a collaboration between the city, the county, and the school board. And it's a credit to those board members and council people who were there at that time who had the foresight to do this. The 59th Street Park is what it was called when it started out. GT Bray was the champion of the whole thing. Ralph Haben was our state representative who was Speaker of the House at the time. And Senator Pat Neal was our senator who brought a lot of money in for this as well. They all had great foresight. Senator Neal's son, John Neal, is here. He's going to say a few words, some of them written down by his dad. Some of them he's going to just wing it on his own.
As strange as it is, I need notes because I'm here to represent the old guard. So, but it's not me, so I have to make sure I get it right. Kevin said nobody's going to fact check you, but if the facts are wrong, call Pat. Call Pat. All right. All right. So my name is John Neal. Pat Neal was originally asked to give this short talk about the creation of GT Bray Park, of which he was involved, was unavailable tonight. But because I helped create a park in the city of Bradenton, and because I believe strongly in public-private partnerships, which I'm doing with the Kern County Commission, and which is working very well in Parrish at this moment, I guess. Then because I was alive in 1982. So Pat thought maybe I could stand in for him. So in looking at the discussion, I looked at some of Pat's notes. I sort of thought I wanted just to talk a little bit about GT Bray because it's kind of interesting. A lot of folks don't know about him. Much to Sean's credit, he was very involved in baseball. He was a huge booster. He loved kids, as the mayor said, and he was really working in the late 70s and in 1980 to try to build an adult baseball program in Manatee County. At that time, the closest fields to where we're standing today were in Oneiko, and baseball was hot, and they were running out of space. So GT Bray was looking around for places to build new baseball diamonds. And maybe because he was such a booster, maybe because he was friends with everybody in the community, just happened to be friends with a man named Ralph Haben, who was a graduate of Palmetto High School and of the University of Florida and a lawyer. member of the House of Representatives and Speaker from 1980 to 1982. You know, sometimes it matters who your friends are. He and Ralph Haven and Pat Neal, who sort of followed Ralph Haven's career, sort of got together and they found something, this property called the Friedland property. This property where we're standing today, also the wooded area property that you know with the dog park, which is north of the drain, and the area behind what is Sugg Middle School. It wasn't actually constructed at the time, but we knew that it was, Pat knew that it was under construction. They got together and I guess hatched a plan to see if they could acquire this property for the city of Bradenton. The then Mayor Bill Evers was on board, and so they sort of came together to pull it together. But what they needed was, you know, money. It's always standing in the way. So to make this happen, Ralph, who was, as I said, in the House of Representatives, and Pat Neal, who was in the Florida Senate, got together and changed a law changed the law for the development of recreational lands in the state of Florida called the Public Educational Capital Outlay Funds. That's a mouthful. They call it PICO for short. That still exists, that law still exists today, and it's designed to help cities, counties, and school boards work together to develop recreational facilities that are co-located with schools. So I was thinking about WD Sugg Middle. They said, oh, it was under construction, but of course I've known it under construction at least 2 times, but this was the first time in 1980 that it was under construction. So when they created that law in Tallahassee, they were able to use federal funds and the state budget to help bring this together. So the city put in the land with a match from the school board in 1982 and about $8 million from the state budget. And what we can think and see today is the end result of G.T. Bray's lifetime passion and go-for attitude and creation of what was really a state-of-the-art facility in 1982. And it really still is today, thanks to the stewardship of many of the people in this room. So for myself and for Pat Neal and his friends, Ralph Haven and G.T. Bray, I thank you for your continued stewardship of this wonderful G.T. Bray Park and recreation facilities. Thank you. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you nailed it. You said I was great, so you did great. We are going to play, the communications department made a great video about sort of the ceremony and the origins of the park, and then sort of the memories that have been made here. So at the end, we're going to play that. But before we do, I have one more speaker I want to bring up, who I wanted to make sure we brought up somebody who was a longtime employee and a past employee, sort of to reach back into the archives. And so we dusted off Allison Betts, and we're going to bring her up here. So first of all, there's a lot of Parks and Rec people in the room, and this is, you know, sort of Parks and Rec culture. It's a tough crowd. But we're going to bring Allison up, and she's going to talk about her years here, her experience here, and essentially sort of it's something I wanted to do as a token to all of our employees who created so many lifelong memories, who were here with all of these kids. And we came here and we played as kids, right? And we had fun here and loved it. But there are employees who spent their careers here dedicated to making sure we had fun and making sure that this place was what it was and that it was there for us. So I want to bring Allison up now. Allison?
If I just set it right there. All right. So I'm a little bit blind these days, so 20 years have kind of made that happen. Anyway, to create lifelong memories for you by offering diverse leisure activities in a safe and beautiful environment that will enhance your quality of life in Manatee County. What better place to create lifelong memories than G.T. Bray Park? Good afternoon. As Kevin said, I'm Allison Baster Betts, and I had the privilege and pleasure of creating lifelong memories here for our community, myself, my family members, and friends as a former Parks and Rec employee and Manatee County resident. Creating lifelong memories was not only the mission statement tagline of Parks and Recreation, but it was my mission each and every day. I can't think of a better place to accomplish this than GT Bray Park? Who knew that in 1985 this park was open? Who knew that in 1985 when this park was open, it would become the heartbeat of West Bradenton, the residents and the families? This park has played host to thousands of recreational activities, special events from baseball, softball, soccer, basketball, swimming events, volleyball, basketball, football games, tennis, cheerleading, horseshoes, frisbee golf, walking trails, an amphitheater, a dog park, birthday parties, Santa arriving in a helicopter, thousands of Easter eggs all over the softball fields, goblin gatherings, and haunted houses, and also, we can't forget our beloved camps. Thousands of kids spent their days here at summer camp or an after-school camp. At the end of the day, many went on to various practices and games throughout the park with the various extracurricular activities that this park has offered. I'm here today to share some of those memories that I have. In 1989, I was fresh out of high school and moved to this area from Bartow, Florida. I was a shy, introverted teenager that had never been away from home other than spending weekends and summers at my grandmother's house in the town next over. I was enrolled in Manatee Community College and was very overwhelmed with being in a new place without my friends and without my family. I decided that in my off-school hours, I would try to find a part-time job to pass the time. I applied for an after-school counselor position here at Bray. Well, that's when my lifelong memories started to be created. I quickly made friends with my coworkers and fell in love with the kids I supervised in my after-school group. I even had our very own Commissioner Kevin Van Ostenbridge as a camper in my group. I am proud to say that 35 years later, I am still friends with a lot of my coworkers and even have reconnected with a lot of the former campers on Facebook. I have so many lifelong memories from my days here at Parks and Recreation as a camp counselor. One of my favorites is being out in public and seeing the campers. You would think they just saw Donald Trump. I guess in their eyes, I was famous. My son would often say to me when we were out and about, "Mom, we can't go anywhere without you knowing somebody." And that was true. So fast forward 10 years later, I was hired to lead youth camps. During this time, I had the privilege of supervising many amazing staff. My goal was to have the best camp in Manatee County and offer a safe place for parents to bring their kids to be active and have fun while also creating lifelong memories for them. I was only able to accomplish that because I had an amazing team that had the same vision to create lifelong memories. We started our weekly staff meetings by going around the room and giving an example of how we created a lifelong memory for a camper, their parent, or even themselves. We had the easiest job maintaining the park's mission in youth camps. Some highlights of creating lifelong memories were the school buses. So in the after-school program, we transported kids to and from, actually not to school, but from school. And I created countless lifelong memories training staff on how to pre-trip and drive school buses. They probably didn't know this, but it was one of my favorite times with them. I got to know them even better during these trainings. Can you believe that I had to train them how to parallel park a school bus? I made them do it 5 times in a row, and if they completed it 5 times in a row perfectly, then we would end our training for the day. Lo and behold, number 5 would come around and they'd hit a cone. So we'd go back to the beginning. It was great. I loved it. We also had one bus that one of the counselors swore there was this huge spider on. Of course, no one really believed him, and one day I was driving his route. The kids were loading the bus when out of nowhere, this huge spider came walking across the windshield. I turned on the wipers, and that was the end of that spider. But it gets better. The next afternoon, when Johnny's mom came to pick him up, she told me how I was the topic of their dinner table conversation the night before, and I kind of was like looking puzzled at her, and she's like, "Well, you saved everybody from that ginormous spider." So even that created a lifelong memory for that family. Another lifelong memory is the limo cart. The kids loved the limo cart. Some of them loved it so much they would try to beg their parents to be late to camp so that they could ride on the limo cart to get transported to their group. I probably shouldn't tell this limo cart story, but hey, it was 25 years ago. This camper had a physical disability and sat on the back of the cart. While being transported, the driver turned a corner and spilled him off. He kept driving. He didn't realize he had fallen off the cart. And let me tell you, I really dreaded that phone call to the parent. Well, I ran into that parent several years later, and that parent remembered me. And he said, "That was the highlight of my son's summer camp." So, and he says, and we still talk about it to this day. So yet another lifelong memory. The campers. It was awesome. It was an awesome experience being a camp counselor at Bray. I had the great privilege of being a positive role model to so many. It was so much fun while watching them grow up at Bray and become adults in the world. Sometimes we had difficult campers. This particular camper got kicked out of every other camp in the county. His mom came to me desperately asking, wasn't Kevin, his mom came to me desperately asking for us to allow him to come to camp. I'm not going to say it was easy, but we worked with him and he became an outstanding camper. I ran into his mom a few years later at the county fair, and she told me how thankful she was of me and our staff, because if it wasn't for us and not giving up on him, she didn't know where her son would be that day. So that was obviously a great lifelong memory. I have so many lifelong memories from my days here at Parks and Recreation as a supervisor. A few of my favorites are seeing former team members and them telling me how I impacted their life in a positive way as their supervisor. It brings many smiles to my heart to know how many campers, athletes, and former staff that I helped create lifelong memories for. Fast forward to today. I have passed the torch to my son, Zachary. I am so proud to say that he is currently a camp counselor here at GT Bray. He's loving his role as a camp counselor and often says, "I get paid to play with kids all day." He loves the park, the kids and their families, as well as his co-workers and the leaders. The park has given my family so much over the past several decades, and I'm excited to know that my son is carrying on the tradition of creating lifelong memories here at GT Bray Park. Thank you, guys.
That was perfect, and there's, 50 or 100 employees we could have picked from. I think Allison did a great job bringing that all together. We are going to play a video real quick.
Before the world-class pickleball facilities, before it became a destination for Manatee County families, before the sounds of laughing children, cannonball splashes, and cheering crowds, GT Bray was an empty lot, full of possibilities. In the early 1970s, the Manatee County Parks and Recreation Board, led by longtime member George Thomas Bray, began envisioning what this nearly 140-acre parcel of land could become. Between 1978 and 1984, what was then called the 59th Street Park Project began modestly, with 2 softball fields with space for 2 more. As additional funding was secured, Manatee County prepared for the park's most dramatic transformation, and the name that would become synonymous with summertime memories and family gatherings. At the 1988 grand opening, the public was finally able to see all the work that had been done. Where there were once empty fields, now held 4 Little League fields. The new gymnasium and activity center offered space for group classes and camps. An Olympic-sized swimming pool, kiddie pool, and dive well gave neighborhood kids a place to cool off and perfect their side stroke. What would eventually become the CV Walton Racquet Center started as 12 tennis courts and 8 racquetball courts. Picnic areas, walking trails, a football field, and an amphitheater filled in the space between amenities, and the park was open to the public. And the name? Before construction started, it was decided that the man who nurtured the park's plans from start to finish would be the namesake of this exciting new addition to Manatee County. George Thomas Bray, a 14-year member of the Parks and Recreation Board. Since then, GT Bray Park has gone through several upgrades, including the addition of soccer fields, the county's first dog park, Happy Tails, a splash pad, the current Recreation and Administration building, a world-class 18-hole disc golf course, a full fitness center, a total of 5 playgrounds, and one of the finest pickleball facilities in the country. Not too bad for a park that started as just an empty lot, full of possibilities.
Perfect, I love it. And I would just add, because it sort of reminded me of all the different rec leagues that we have. There's a much younger board of county commissioners than there was like 4 years ago. I'd say the whole board has turned over. A lot of us either were active and played sports and still remember when we did, or have kids who are coming up through the ranks and are actually playing right now. And I think that's why you've seen this new focus on our parks. And it's not just, I just want to make sure you know, it's not just for boys sports. We're focused on boys sports and girls sports. And as long as I can speak for all these commissioners, as long as we're sitting on the board at all of these rec leagues that are practicing and playing at our parks, I can promise you that no one from outside is going to come in and change the definition of girls sports or influence us. These parks and these leagues, girls sports are just for girls, period. All right, if you want to take a tour and see all that we've done, we have a trolley, which is out front, that can take you around. Yeah, you don't even have to walk it. Isn't that great? So the trolley's going to be out front, and you can hop on the trolley, and if you haven't seen softball or baseball or any of these improvements yet, you can hop on the trolley and take the tour. Thank all of you for being here. Thank you to the board for the support on this project, and thank all of you for your years of dedication to Manatee County. Thanks, everybody.
Right. Well, I think when you look at how sports have changed, how activities have changed, and today we know technology has really changed how kids think. You can get kids at any time to sit behind a computer or on their phones now, but you want them out in those parks. And when you see our football, Manatee Wildcats that's out there, they're going to have 7 different teams this year. When you see Little League baseball, you know, Sean Flynn is doing such a great job. And there's been many Sean Flynn's, you know, over the years, but Sean's doing it right now as president. You get the community oriented. You see the swimming. You see the pickleball now for adults. You see what CV Walton did in the Walton tennis courts was a little for older folks that were doing things. Pickleball's taken that over. I mean, what Commissioner Van Ostenbridge has continued from what Commissioner Johnson kind of when it started really shows that this is a full community park from basically birth till death. And you know, you can do what as much as you want or as little as you want, but you can come here. My wife brought our grandkids here a lot. I have a now 16-month-old granddaughter that will be coming here as soon as she's able to, and get out there. But there's all the different activities, no matter what age. You look around the outskirts of the park, you have the dog park. You look on the west side, we now have our new PSOC that's grown there. You have an EMS station, have our fire station. You have this Suggs Middle School that just got remodeled. So it is not just one thing. It's everything that can be done here at this park. And in the 80s, when people were working together, the city, the county, the school district, really saying, what can we do to make West Bradenton area and to give kids something to do? And as sports became a little bit more popular over the years, instead of just going out in the backyard and playing baseball with the kids, they wanted to create a place of things for kids to do. And really adults too, but it really was about the children and how you grow it. And now looking at all the years later and all the years that I played football and baseball and Little League and going through, coached here, and then getting into the politics part of it, the collaboration was so important to me to say, hey, how are we going to continue? And even though the county manages and runs the park, it's still in the city of Bradenton. They basically lease the property from us. So it's a collaboration that you're working with. The school district is so important to it as well because Manatee High School Manatee High School baseball team, Manatee High's girls softball also plays here. And that's how you heard about how Mr. Neal and Mr. Haben got the money to get the park going, actually changed the law to create that. And you're proud to hear of the old timers, when you hear of Haben Boulevard, you hear of what Pat Neal does for the community and what the family's done. You hear about what C.V. Walton did. You hear about what Coach Carlock, the coaches and a lot of other people, hundreds of people were involved. And then, of course, G.T. Bray. And what he did to get the name on it. And I would say, if I didn't know Mr. Bray, but if he was standing here right now, he'd say, take my name off that from the standpoint of it's about what it's doing for the community and the collaboration. Right. Well, depending on what you want to do, you come here and find out. And obviously the county does a great job at running this park. If you got a 6-7-year-old boy, there's opportunity to come play Little League. If you want to play football. Of course, the softball is more of church and rec league. They've got kickball. Tonight, I'm walking over as soon as this game's over. My kids at 33 and 30 are still coming to this park. They've got the championship kickball league tonight. So again, it is basically a 24/7 park, and with the skate park. It's not something, if when we were growing up, we had the skateboards that would barely roll. But now they got the skate park and the different ways to do it. And that's pretty much 24/7 if you want to. It gives kids an opportunity and adults an opportunity to have something recreational to do. And we know it's good to get out and be in recreation instead of sitting behind the computer or a phone all day.
I tell you what, this year has been pretty special. It's been our first year with our new board, and kudos to the past board. But we had a lot of parents wanting to get involved that they themselves were here playing at GT Bray Park in Little League. And, it was amazing them wanting to give back. And so it's been, you looking around at our park in the middle of the week for our games, you're going to find grandfather, father, and now son out there on the baseball field. Generations, multi-generations just out there having a great time and continuing the legacy that, brought so many smiles and, the joy of baseball to all of us too. Just like any sports, for any age, you have to start them out with the love of the game, and whether it be for soccer, basketball, baseball, I know that's what we've tried to get back to, focusing on the love of the game, focusing on giving every single cent back to the kids, making it such a positive experience, all-star teams, different events, whether it be the kids get one game, whether or not we can make them a jersey for that one game, then so be it. Let's give them something to remember. And it's our league is, we're focused right now on growth, and I think that's it, we're moving in the right direction. And I'm so happy for my kids and all of our other kids in the league that it's they're hopefully they can create and collect the same memories that we had coming up. You go back to these rec leagues, it's all about the kids, boys and girls. Everybody gets a chance to play, and having the right coaches in place that create the joy, help make the experience. We want these kids at the end of the season to remember whether they had an enemy on another team, whether they had friends, and going into the next year and upcoming years, they're going to be playing with these guys or now against these guys. And I think that is where you create the family type of atmosphere with all that are involved in the league. And I think that's what we're striving to get back to. Anybody that has any desire to play youth sports, and especially baseball for that matter, we absolutely welcome you to come out to GT Bray, join West Bradenton Little League.
It is a great feeling of satisfaction to see the park completely renovated, $15 million and 4 years later. We did our best to work around league play. That's part of the reason it took so long, is we didn't want to disrupt any league play. And we were very successful at that. I don't think we really disrupted anybody's play along the way, other than the pool. So my predecessor, Steve Johnson, he started to target GT Bray for renovations towards the end of his term. And when he sort of passed the baton, he asked me to carry that forward and to continue on with it. I took it quite seriously because my family spent countless hours at GT Bray. We were here all the time. My brother playing Little League. I briefly played Little League, and then I was playing Wildcat football, and my dad played softball here. So just countless family memories were made out here at GT Bray. And I realized the importance of this park to all of West Bradenton, not just to kids, but to seniors, to adult league softball, to everybody. And we even have the high school, Manatee High School, has softball, swimming, and baseball all playing here at the park. And so it's really, really important place for everybody in Manatee County, and particularly in West Bradenton. People spend huge amounts of time here. And I really just committed a good part of my first term and a lot of my, my political capital into updating GT Bray and bringing it to where it is. And I think we're done. I mean, we're ready for the next 40 years of lifelong memories out here at Bray. Yeah, GT Bray has a great legacy of campers and athletes and kids that were playing here when they were kids, who are now, like Sean Flynn, president of Little League, or they're coaching in some way, shape, or form. And there's countless coaches out here right now who spent time out here as kids, and it's a great legacy to GT Bray himself and to all of those previous elected officials who had the foresight to build this park and knew what it would be. And I'm just glad that people entrusted us to have some foresight to renovate the place and make sure that it's ready for the next 40 years. Yeah, it takes a village, right? It takes everybody. GT Bray was on the Parks and Rec. He was the chair of the Parks and Recs board. It was Pascuzzi who was the original Parks and Rec director out here when GT Bray first opened. And all the Parks and Rec directors and employees after that, a lot of people spent their careers, like dozens of people spent their careers and put all this passion and love into this park and into creating lifelong memories for all the people who are out here. And I tried to give a good thank you to them. And I think Allison Betts did a great job when she spoke today of giving a nice thank you to all the people who spent their careers out here creating lifelong memories for everybody who enjoyed this park. I would say Bray has literally something for everyone. We just installed beach volleyball. There's baseball, there's soccer, there's football complex, there's softball complex. We have a huge horseshoe facility. We have shuffleboard facility. We have a disc golf course. There's a massive aquatics center, and probably the centerpiece of the whole thing is our racket center. There's a skate park. There's literally for every age. There is something to do at GT Bray, and if you drive through this park on a Saturday, the place is busting at the seams. And the biggest challenge we have on Saturdays is parking, which is why we just added an overflow parking lot. But if you don't have pride in your community after driving through GT Bray on a Saturday and seeing all of these athletic fields filled with kids and families, I don't know, I don't know what does it for you.